Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten,
and you're listening to
lurking in the shadows. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Thursday. Today
Thursday.
Yeah. All I'm drinking
That
is
we won't
water,
celebrate.
though.
Yeah, me too.
um, Today is one of my cases. I'm covering another strange, mysterious death because they're my favorite. They're my favorite to learn about and research. Today I'll be telling the story of Jonathan Luna, a 38-year-old assistant attorney from Baltimore who was found dead in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this
No,
one hits
I
home.
have never heard of it.
And it's a
Yeah,
very
like
weird one.
literally.
And there was a very
Yeah,
roundabout way of how he got here. Because he has no ties to Lancaster.
wow.
He's not
Okay.
from Lancaster.
Oh,
Yeah. No ties to Lancaster whatsoever.
wow. You got me intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So Jonathan Paul Luna was born on October 21st, 1965 in the Bronx, New York City to Paul and Rosella Luna. His dad, Paul Luna, was Filipino and worked in restaurants, and his mom, Rosella, was black and was just a stay-at-home mom. Both of them are currently deceased now. Jonathan has an older brother named David Luna. In school, Jonathan was a good student. He wanted to be a journalist at one point, but in high school, he decided he wanted to be a lawyer instead. He enrolled at Hunter College in New York City, but transferred to Fordham University, which is a private university in the Bronx. He was then accepted into the prestigious University of North Carolina School of Law in Chapel Hill, and that is where he met his future wife, Angela Hopkins, who was an obstetrician. He graduated law school in 1992, and they got married on August 29th, 1993, and had 2 sons. He worked at Arnold and Porter private law firm in Washington, D.C. from 1993 to 1994, where he was one of only a few black attorneys at the firm at that time. The firm's managing partner said Luna was a superb young lawyer who got off to a fast start in his career. He was also unusually warm, likable, thoughtful, and generous person who was obviously very close to his family. Luna then worked for the Federal Trade Commission from 1994 to 1997. After this, he served as a prosecutor in the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office from June 1997 to June 1999, before moving to Baltimore to become an assistant district attorney in 1999. District Attorney spokesman Jerry Schmetterer described Luna as a dedicated, conscientious, and extremely competent prosecutor. In September 2002, Luna was involved in a bank robbery case in which more than $36,000 of evidence money went missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a chunk.
It sure is. It's unclear if that money was stolen or embezzled. Luna had fears at this time that he would lose his job over the case, and he retained his own attorney. I guess nothing ever came of this because he continued working. So I don't think that I don't know if they ever solved what happened to that $36,000.
That was hush money.
I guess so, yeah.
Stay quiet.
Maybe. You never know. On December 3rd, 2003, he was prosecuting a drug case that wasn't going very well. 2 Baltimore men, Dion Leonel Smith and Walter O. Poindexter, were accused of selling heroin, and Poindexter also faced a murder charge. One of those men was a rapper who was accused of running a violent heroin ring out of his music studio. The chief witness, Warren Grace, was a convicted heroin dealer working as a paid FBI informant, but had broken the conditions of the program by slipping out of his electronic monitoring device and having heroin unrelated to the case in his vehicle, among some other allegations. That information came out during the trial, and defense attorneys accused Luna of failing to disclose this information. The defendants then decided on a plea bargain. Jonathan called the defense attorney around 9:30 p.m. saying he was going back to the office to finalize both written agreements and would fax it to him that night. That fax would never come. I'm sorry. So he was then found dead the next morning on December 4th, 2003 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
You know, my case was December 6th, and yours is
December 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
Mine's 2003, but yeah.
Again, yeah, close to Christmas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
These always happen around.
I know, a lot of crimes do.
Ugh.
So I'm going to go back to the night of the 3rd again because there's a lot of weird things that happen from him leaving the courthouse to being found that next morning, and it makes part of why this case is so weird. So after he tells the attorney he's going to fax the agreements, he goes back home. What'd you say?
I'm hoping since it's 2003, maybe there's some surveillance or not yet.
Sort in some parts.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that common yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he tells the attorney he's going back to fax the agreements, and then he goes back home. But around 11 p.m., he gets a phone call at home and tells his wife he needs to go back into the office. So 11 p.m. is a little late to be going back to do work. He gets there and then leaves the district court building around 11:38 p.m. At 11:49 p.m., his car drives through Fort McHenry Tunnel Toll Plaza, which is in Baltimore, heading northbound on I-95. At 12:28 a.m., his car drives through Perryville Toll Plaza, which is still in Maryland, heading northbound, and at 12:46 he crosses through the Delaware Line toll. At 12:57 a.m., his debit card was used to withdraw $200 from an Exxon gas station at the JFK Service Plaza off I-95 in Newark, Delaware. Around 12:37 a.m., Luna's car enters the New Jersey Turnpike Interchange 6A from Route 130. Then at 2:47 a.m., his car enters the Pennsylvania Turnpike Interchange 359 at Delaware River Bridge. A strange detail is that instead of using his Easy Pass to zip through a toll plaza as he had done so far that night, he stops to take a ticket in the cash-only lane.
Okay.
His toll ticket is later found to have blood on it, suggesting he may have already been injured at this time.
Oh,
and maybe someone else was in the car with him or driving the car. But we'll get to that. At 3:20 a.m., his debit card was used to buy gas at a Sunoco gas station in King of Prussia. If he'd intended all along to travel from the courthouse to that exit, the driving point from A to B should have been no more than a 2-hour drive, but it took him more than 4 hours to get from Baltimore to King of Prussia. So what all was he doing in those extra 2 hours?
Someone was in the car with him.
That's what it seems like.
Someone was in the car with this man.
At 4:04 a.m., Luna's car exited the Pennsylvania Turnpike at exit 286, the Reading-Lancaster interchange. His car was then parked at the back of the Sensenig and Weaver Well Drilling Company at 1439 Dry Tavern Road. This is in Denver, Pennsylvania, which is Brecknock Township. The first employee arrived to work around 5 a.m., and Luna's car was noticed around 5:30. The car's lights were off, a door was open, and the front end was in a stream. Blood was smeared over the driver's door and the front left of the car, and a pool of blood was found on the rear seat of the floor. His wallet and some of his credit cards were still in the vehicle, as well as most of the $200 he'd withdrawn from the ATM, which was scattered around in the car. Luna was found face down in the stream. He was wearing a suit and a black overcoat with his court ID around his neck, and he had been stabbed 36 times with his own pocket knife.
Wow.
The Lancaster County coroner who performed the autopsy ruled Luna's death a homicide by drowning, even though he was stabbed 36 times, including in the neck. But drowning was what killed him.
So he was still alive?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
The coroner considered it likely that the prosecutor had been tortured, possibly for the purpose of extracting information. Luna left his glasses, which he needed to drive, and his cell phone on his desk at work. The pool of blood in the back seat would suggest Luna was in the back seat and someone else was driving. So it makes you wonder, like, if these injuries maybe started at the courthouse and he was taken hostage or something, because he got that phone call at 11 p.m., went to the courthouse, then left shortly after. So, like, was he meeting up with somebody?
Yeah.
Because he was in the process of doing this plea bargain. Maybe someone was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know.
Listen, what exactly is the motive here?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Because that makes no sense.
Other than maybe revenge for, I don't know. Because the one guy was like a rapper, so I'm sure, there's lots of violence in the rap world and murders.
Yeah.
So maybe he got one of his people to take him out. I don't know.
I know, but for what though? Like that is, I mean, I guess
even the $200 he pulled out was still there. So like, money wasn't the motive. Robbery. His credit cards were there. His wallet was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ticket from the toll, is that confirmed his blood on there?
I didn't read that anywhere. It just said there was blood on it.
Okay, because I was wondering then, because they're sitting here theorizing that he was in the back seat, but for him to grab a ticket, is there proof that he grabbed it out of the back seat, or was it the front seat? Is there...
Right, I don't know. They could have driven up for him to pull it. Yeah, I don't know. Unless he was driving at some point and then got in the back after another... Because they got off so many exits.
Well, he obviously had to be in the front. There was smear of blood on the front door.
Yeah. So he was in the front at some point and then maybe moved to the back.
At some point bleeding.
After one of the stops. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking, is that maybe...
Did they pick someone else up? Maybe there was more than just one other person in the car?
Maybe he got to a point where he's like, I can't drive anymore, I'm so injured. So whoever his hostage takers were threw him in the back and continued driving.
That's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
The FBI initially said that he had no defensive wounds, which hinted at a self-inflicted manner of death.
Oh my, why are you picking these all the time?
So trigger warning, suicide will be brought up. This is my signature move at work when some bullshit's happening. I just have to put my face in my palm for a minute and collect myself. Because
that'll be our thumbnail.
Yeah, I should be. Because I do that all the time at work when something dumb happens. I'm like, or I get a dumb text from the supervisor, or they're assigning this patient that should absolutely not be on my unit. Anyway. I facepalm all the time. So again, like in Ellen's case, how is this suicide?
Yep.
And why is that always all the way there? Why is that always a consideration?
It's the easy way out, I guess.
Kim MacLeod, who was responsible for preparing Jonathan's body for viewing, stated that he had obvious defensive wounds and that his hands were shredded with deep cuts and slashes on his fingers and palms. Police officers who had been at the scene agreed with this. There was even a mention of a cut to his genitals.
Oh.
So yeah, that's not suicide.
Okay. Well, wait. So, who reported that? It was the police earlier that had reported.
The police noticed that, as well as the person at the funeral home preparing his body for viewing. But the FBI wanted to say this could have been self-inflicted.
Who said that that he had no defense wounds earlier?
The FBI.
Was that that was the FBI?
The FBI.
No.
Cover up.
Okay, because then well, that's what I was trying to, like, in my head, make it like a cover-up, but why are we jumping straight to the FBI here?
Because he's a federal prosecutor, so they had to get involved.
Oh. Yeah. Gotcha now. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Well, he didn't cover all bases because the police said it too. Dude, right. Pay off all the people you're going to pay off.
Nope.
Like, don't be cheap. You can't half-ass something like that.
I know.
I mean, not encourage, but I'm just saying, like,
put some more effort in.
Yeah, like the police literally were like, nah.
Yeah.
He literally looks like he had a hand-to-hand combat with a knife, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
While investigating his case, it was found that Luna allegedly had a credit card debt of $25,000 that his wife was unaware of, and that he'd been active on internet dating sites. So the FBI was using that, like stress over personal problems and financial issues, to say he could have been suicidal. Like, what? So he drives 4 hours to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to stab himself 36 times and throw himself in a stream?
Yeah.
That's how he's going to commit suicide?
A little bit of debt. Yeah. You can't tell me that that's the final ruling on this. You can't tell me that.
We're going to get there.
Okay. I will riot if there's like 3 in a row here.
Because there's also like talks like, could he have been going to meet up with someone on one of these internet dating sites and it went really bad?
No.
But that doesn't explain the blood on the ticket and him going through all these weird exits.
A 4-hour drive that should have been 2 hours.
That could have been 2.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, if you're going to go meet a girl, you're 80 down the highway. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
You're not roundabout your way there.
Right. Nope. So we're going to go from 2003 to 2006 now. So in 2006, the FBI was allegedly pressuring coroner Gary Kirchner to change the official ruling from murder to suicide. But he refused, agreeing with the original findings.
Okay. Right.
Thank God someone chooses to stand firm.
Yeah.
Against police saying, no, change this to suicide.
Right? Like, don't be so scared. They're not as big and bad as you think.
I mean, they might have you killed, but that's all.
You know, justice. Justice.
So yeah, again, another case where why are officials pressuring medical examiners to change their ruling? It is their job to determine the ruling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again,
stay in your lane.
Screaming cover-up.
Yeah.
The FBI did end up offering a reward of $100,000 for info on Jonathan's case. Unfortunately, little progress has been made in the investigation into his death. No suspects have ever been officially named. Federal investigators even theorized that Jonathan had been attempting to stage his own kidnapping and simply went too far.
Oh, here, do it with me.
Yeah. Let's just... Excuse me? Squeeze me?
Yeah, squeeze me?
I'm gonna stage my own kidnapping. And then in the process, I'm gonna stab myself 36 times. Pull out some cash and throw it all over my car.
Yep.
And fall into a stream.
Yep, straight from the courthouse.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna go to work and then start this elaborate kidnapping.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get out of here. Go on, get.
Jonathan's family and friends believe there's a cover-up happening, and they hired a PI.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they're right me.
How else can you explain it?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Private investigator Ed Martino came to believe that the attorney, Jonathan, was murdered by a corrupt federal agent. So that's kind of an interesting take as well. Not even just someone that he's prosecuting, but another agent. The only thing I don't know is what is the motive there as well.
No, yeah, I don't know any sort of motive. Like, these aren't making sense in the motive, but then as you're telling me these, like, there's connections, you know, like,
right,
there's those slight connections of the federal cases, corrupt FBI and things like that, but there's no motive here. So,
because the only thing that was happening at this time was them or him prosecuting this heroin ring case.
Yeah, and you can't tell me that what he was working on and what he was busting, even with the rapper, was worth all this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a high-profile case here.
No. It's whatever. Yeah, that's why I don't understand. Like, whoever did kill him, like, what was the motive?
Yeah, why? There really is. I don't see one.
Unless, how did he end up here in Lancaster? Why did they come the whole way here?
Yeah, I'm really thinking that it was just by. I know there's no coincidences in true crime, but I have a feeling that they were. Yes, that they were just driving, not really with a destination, and that's just where they ended up. If they're taking a hostage. I don't know.
I mean, it just seems so random to come here, good old Amish country, and dump a body in a stream.
I know, because you know what? I was thinking, like, maybe they're coming to good old Pennsylvania to find somewhere to get rid of the body, but they didn't get rid of the body.
No, because why wouldn't they have put it in the woods? Like, there were plenty of woods. Why are they put it behind a building?
Anything. Yeah.
A business.
Yeah.
And a little stream behind a business. Like, how did they end up there? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That is so weird.
Right? Author William Kiesling wrote a book on the case titled The Midnight Ride of Jonathan Luna, and he believes that he was murdered over a case that he'd been working on and that there was a plot to cover this up. So again, more talk of a cover-up. And then I think that The Midnight Ride of Jonathan Luna, I think it was also becoming a movie or a documentary too that I was seeing in my research. Law enforcement said that Jonathan's Honda Accord had been left in neutral at the creek and that it appeared an attempt had been made to push it on top of his body. His vehicle eventually vanished and can no longer be used as evidence.
What?
Yep.
Yep, it is a cover-up. Yeah. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me.
How does a whole car in a crime scene vanish?
Yeah, because, I mean, they keep them.
How does any evidence vanish?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
A whole vehicle? It's gone. Lots of evidence in that vehicle, and it's gone.
That's where all the evidence was.
Everything happened in that vehicle.
So, yeah.
And it's gone.
It's a cover-up. I agree with you. Because who else would have the capabilities of getting rid of an entire ass car other than like the FBI or police or somebody who have the means to hush everybody and get that job done?
And it's scary to think about that this happens, that this is happening.
It is scary to think that people have that power out there. That is scary.
Yeah, and they can just get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what all Trump's gotten away with. He got elected president. He has plenty of felonies, you know? It doesn't matter in the federal world.
No. Yeah. Wow. We fucked up, man. Yeah.
So on February 14th, 2004, investigators announced that after another sweep of the crime scene area off Dry Tavern Road in Brecknock Township, they had discovered a penknife that they believe was used in the attack on Luna, so it was his. It was unclear why the knife was found 2.5 months after the killing and was missed in the extensive search during the case's early days.
Yeah, that kind of important. It's evidence, obviously.
How was that
and a
missed? Weapon. And it found randomly 2.5 months later after they decided to go back to the scene. Since then, not much has really happened, sadly. There have been several battles over records and information in this case. The coroner who made the initial homicide ruling has since died, but his 2 successors have maintained that finding.
Good.
Autopsy records
unfortunately, that's... I'm glad that they're, like, holding up their end, but...
Yeah, because he was murdered.
This ain't gonna go anywhere. Yeah. He was murdered, yeah. But... It's like they're the only peoples holding out on the right side of this here.
Yeah.
It feels like.
And I hope it stays that way.
I hope so, too.
Autopsy records in Pennsylvania are presumed to be public record, but Luna's records had long been thought to be lost. In January 2020, they were found in the Lancaster County Archives. Not long after this discovery, the DA's office had them sealed on the grounds that releasing them could jeopardize the investigation into Luna's death. What investigation?
What? Yeah, what?
You're not doing anything.
You're not investigating anything. No, you're just. They're just covering it up.
So how can them seeing how the autopsy report jeopardize anything?
And what the heck, Lancaster? In an archive somewhere?
Right?
Do better.
Yeah. Like, I literally live, like...
These are...
less than a 5-minute drive from the building. Like, I should go in there and beat some ass. I should go cause a scene.
Go throw down and be like, excuse me.
Like, this is crazy.
It is. I can't, like, you, now that we're, every step you're taking it is one step more into covering up.
Yes. Like, how does no one else see that?
I don't know.
Me either.
Even the blind can see it over here.
And I'm pretty blind myself. In 2020, Lancaster newspaper went to court in an effort to compel the district attorney's office to release coroner's office records, but Lancaster County Judge David Ashworth sided with the DA about keeping it closed. I don't know what investigation they think it might jeopardize, but like I said, it doesn't seem like it's very active.
No.
I actually recently shared an article on this case on Facebook, on my own personal Facebook, because on January 31st, 2025, which is ironically the day the coroner in Ellen's case changed his mind.
Oh, okay.
So a lot happened on January 31st, 2025. Judge Ashworth, who in 2020 refused to release the records, offered the DA's office, or ordered the DA's office to provide a detailed update on the current investigative status of the case by March 7th. Okay. So it's March 27th now. Well,
yeah.
It said Ashworth will then review the records in camera, meaning it will be in his chambers, not in open court. He'll then schedule a meeting with the DA's office and Lancaster newspaper representatives. So like I said, it's March 27th when we're recording this, and nothing has been announced from that yet.
We'll get on it, Kirsten.
I know.
Come on.
Like I said, I gotta drive
right
down
down
there
the street
and make a scene. Someone knows something.
Yeah. There are so many hands in this pot. Somebody's gotta
man up, grow some balls.
Yeah, come and close this case.
Yeah. Ugh. So that's really the ending. Like
nothing.
No. I mean, I hope something comes of them reviewing the records. I don't even know if it was confirmed, because he was giving the DA's office until March 7th to like come up with an update on the investigative status of the case. But like I said, how are they going to update? Like, what has been happening behind the scenes to solve this?
Yeah. Yeah. What investigation? What? Why are we sealing things anyway?
Yeah.
Like, prove to me that you're actually trying. Like, you're not even giving us whatever angle. Like, at least in the case that I just did with the yogurt shops, we at least have DNA we're trying to work with. You know, what angle are they coming at?
I don't know.
Here.
Yeah. And with the car gone, did they collect DNA?
Yeah.
What all was in the car that we could have used? That's just missing.
Yeah, and now that there's no evidence, the car's missing. So what are you investigating? Tell us you've got other things or something.
How about you give me an update, DA office?
Yeah.
I want answers.
At lurkingintheshadows@gmail.com.
Yes. You got our contact info. I'll start a riot downtown in the square.
Let's go. Yeah. I'll be there.
But yeah, it's crazy.
That's
this attorney from Baltimore is murdered for God who knows what reason, and then body's dumped in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's how many years old now? That would be
21 years ago.
21 years ago?
Well, I guess almost 21.
Almost 21.
Right? Yeah, it was December 2003. So it was like 22 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. That's all these cases, how old they've gotten.
And like, I still, 2003 still feels like 10 years ago to me. Like, the fact that
I know
it's over 20 years ago, I can't accept that.
That's Nope.
I cannot accept that.
It's disgusting. Mm-mm.
Like,
it's not real.
I would do anything to go back to 2003. I'd give up my life savings to be able to go back in time. The early 2000s were the best, aside from these murders.
Aside from these murders.
It was such an easier time.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I missed the 90s.
There was no social media.
The early 2000s. Yeah.
Music was better. Movies were better. People were better in some ways.
Because we didn't have social media to taint us so much back then.
Yeah, and like even celebrities dressed like normal people back then.
Yep. Yeah, simpler time.
It was. And I get depressed each day thinking about it.
That we're here now in 2025.
Yeah.
Well, make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast.
Follow us on TikTok at
Lurking in the Shadows Pod.
Send us a Gmail.
DA's office at Lurking in the Shadows Podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.